Okay, I don't know about Jax's story. Let me look Jax's story up. Wikipedia. Jax. Uh, what's it called? Mortal Kombat. There we go. Mortal Kombat. Kombat. Okay. Let's see here. Jax. Mortal Kombat Wikipedia. Okay, so let's see. What was why is he fighting? Like what is this all about? Fictional character. Okay, so physically as a physically imposing United States Special Forces superior of Sonya Blade. All right. Let's see. His Mortal Kombat Special Forces. He has a metal bionic arm. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. This guy. I don't play that game. I didn't really know much about him. Though he succeeds in rescuing Sonya, Kano manages to evade capture, and Shao Kahn invades Earthrealm. Okay, yeah, in that movie. Okay, so all right, so there's this whole thing. He's some kind of special forces guy, and this is the season when there's flies. I hate this goddamn flies. Okay, all right, so there we go. So you see, the thing is, I'm kind of wondering, like, is there something that gets resolved about his story in, like, do you ever find out about his, his like the background of him? Oh, here we go. Okay, Jax had an expanded role in the novelization of the first film. Okay, he was given a special forces partner named Baron, created exclusively for the comic, and modeled after Midway art director Steve Barron. He is killed near the conclusion by Melina off panel. There we go. He saves his buddy Baran. You tie it all together somewhere through the game if you're playing Jax and what's his Sonya Revelation. Sonya and Kano had teamed up in fending off Goro, but after Sonya with Kano contacts Jax from Outworld, Jax realizes Cage was telling the truth, tracks him down in a movie studio, but Shao Kahn's forces have already invaded Earth, and Jax ends up battling Kintaro in an inconclusive fight before Liu Kang and Kung Lao intervene. He was given a special for okay, and there blah blah blah. Okay, so yeah, why didn't they just go and tie that in? You sell comics, everybody's making money. It pulls a bunch of lore together. It looks like for the whole story for number 11, a good part of it's written already. It seems like that could have been done. I don't know. It's just that's what. Okay, that's what I figure you do when you work for these people. You try to figure out how do you get if there because nowadays that you'll have the comics, you'll have the books, or some fan fiction that got allowed at some point over the decade and more that this game has had popularity, cartoon stuff, all kinds of things. So I'm thinking you have all kinds of storyline that you could finally throw in there. That he's got the power of time itself available. He could turn back time. He could find a way. Now, I get the idea of I could have stopped African slavery before it began. But now the problem I know a lot of people really that a lot of video game nerds have is one, it's like, okay, I get that would be a very good thing to do with the power over time. There's no argument against that. It's just like, does let's see, does Sonya Blade do something imperative for all female kind? Does Shao Kahn? Oh, sorry, he's a bad guy. Raiden. Raiden being some kind of god. He's the lightning god guy. He's like the really kind of cool looking dude. Looks like Lightning from Big Trouble in Little China. Um, does he like end the Chinese communist regime to save the Chinese? I mean, like, there's like a lot of stuff that I'm like, okay, well, I mean, if what ends up being is that it's like the rest of them, what they're doing is they're kind of saving their racial group from a great injustice in time or something like that, or I could kind of get it. I mean, it makes sense. I get the moral. There is like sort of like, well, what's wrong with that? And it's like, well, like, there's nothing really wrong with that. I mean, it just seems like there has to be something about this character's story that, makes this like kind of a believable character, and some like there's something about this character, and it might not just be the color of their skin. I just love it. I love it. It's so honkety honker. It's the bonk bonk and the honk honk all just overlapping, because one group of people like, oh my god, they went full wokeness with the understanding of, you only go woke because you are making this entirely racial. You're making the choice. That's why you went woke. Anything you do to a storyline, a franchise, that's why you went woke. You went woke to make it redonkulously racial, or in some way incendiary, so you could stick it to Whitey, or something. Dad, take that, Dad. You make me pay back my art school money. My debts. Fuck you, Dad. So the thing, I mean, it would make sense if the idea is that it also then, so maybe it introduces the character Baron, and you unlock Baron. So it could be that at some point, I mean, like, this becomes like a major thing. Like, people are like, dude, no, there's this weird character you get to unlock. I mean, maybe you never heard of him. Or maybe it's the kind of thing you unlock them, and only the people who have read the comic, like, really know what's up. This is the whole point of Nerd. This is the entire point. And it's right there. It's sitting there. It wrote itself. This is just like what they do with Star Wars. All of it. It's been written. It's already written itself. People who really liked it wrote stuff about it. All you gotta do is fill in this new product line and tie all these together, and everyone makes tons of fucking money. But this is now Mortal Kombat 11 has banning people, and there's the video game people are at it again with all the racists and this and that, and it's like, no, this guy suddenly decided to free all the black people, and then the last shot is like this goofy looking gi he's wearing, like some Buck Rogers looking shit, and like some weird city in the background. All the art subpar. The whole little ending thing, that ending shot, subpar. So the other thing, so it's just that alone, like, looking, and there's like a guy in like a warm-up suit with, and I'm just like, really? That's who designed that? Like, there's this part of me that I just keep wondering, it's like, Please don't tell me you got Ta-Nehisi Coates in on this. And that's like what the world in his view would be like, or what Africa would be like. Like this somehow works out in his mind that without the Muslims starting the slave trade and dominating it until it was ended by the short-lived players Britain, France, and the United States. The United States being one of the shortest of players. Oh, I'm sorry, Portugal and Spain. And that you actually, what you motherfuckers need to talk to is they need to have it out with the Spanish. They need to have it out with the Portuguese, but they won't because those people are broke. They'll have it out with America because in America, those former slaves who were forced to learn how to read after they were freed. This whole, yeah, all the time I just sit back and I'm just like, people don't even get, like, there's anger at reading well and being forced to speak properly. I just sit back and I'm like, what reality are you all witnessing? Did you not experience this in school? I'm sorry. The Shakespeare Club simply was not the classical music club. This was not something dominated by the blacks. I'm sorry. It just I don't care where you think you went. It just there's just when you go to Ren Fair, yeah, there's those black people who are into some Ren Fair. But I'm sorry. It's just this is not something that they're just like, God damn, I totally want to do that. I totally want to do this thing that would show that I'm widely interested in all kinds of cultures throughout time and all kinds of other people in a way that's extremely healthy and is obviously quite normal for most groups of European descent in the United States in the contiguous 48 because they all have lived side by side and all have adopted each other's cuisine, all intermarried, and actually this even existed in the United States even before independence, where there's wide-ranging intermarriage between all types of European groups and just anybody else. Native Americans, black people, that's where you get all these light-skinned black people in the East Coast, in the northern states, that it was actually intermarriage when it didn't fucking matter. Nobody wrote it down. Everybody knew that was them. Yeah, those people are married. It was you even see this in Gangs of New York to some degree. So, just the lack of understanding of the history with the United States in particular on this issue, and that once independence is reached, most of the founding fathers are really, really trying to figure out how to deal with the Southern planters. Because the Southern planters just had fuck tons of money. And they had shipping power. This is another thing people don't take seriously. They had multi-generational wealth through shipping power. Because they were descended from Barbadian planters. So they're the colony of Barbados. So they had to get that goddamn cotton out somehow. So they had people who were in the shipping business, and those people depended on that, because this is a very, very, very difficult product to just get around. It takes up hell of space and stuff. So at the time, so this was one of these things that that network that therefore is needed. All the stuff you have to build to deal with all the goddamn cotton and move it from here to there and preserve it and the weavers, all these various groups of people were dependent upon that. And when these guys are saying we've got to do something about this now, because look, our legal system has this fundamental problem going here, people. We have all this. But then, see how this isn't working? This isn't working right, And so we're gonna make this compromise. Okay, all right, this could work really swimmingly well and Thomas Jefferson, he tried to get manumission passed in Virginia, where you could just say, all right, you're all free. Couldn't get it done. He was on the side of manumission. And so I just think about this all the time. Like now, if people knew about that, knew about how much so many groups of Americans, because they were kookball religious or they were super Masonic, that they really didn't like this idea of people being treated dreadfully unequally. And it was also because their own kind would get snatched off the shore now and then by a bunch of raiding Saracens or Algerians or Moroccans or something like that. So uh, this problem that most people have now is you could have made this character deeper, and you not just fumbled it, you sort of did some weird dance and fumbled it and then threw glitter like it was like an art show. Like, why did you ruin our whole game? Like, why do you people keep insisting on interjecting something that's just gauche? I love Matt Forney brought up, he said gauche, and I'm like, that's the word. That's it. It's just, and that it, where you're just sitting there and you're like, no, there's all kinds of things wrong with it, but most importantly, there's a way it's over the top, too much in every possible way. The gauche, just that there's a lowness. It brings what was worked on heavily, and it makes it a low thing. That's just like, oh, if you're kind of dumb, you really thought that was a great ending. Like if you really like, you don't like your stories complicated. You don't do a lot of reading. It's like reading of a book. That's work. That's what it comes across as. Oh, I'm woke. I don't really have to know that Islam preserves the slavery of Africans as a permanent fixture of that which is the case of Africans and the case of slaves, because that's what Muhammad did, and if it was good for Muhammad, and that you'll never get past this. You'll never, ever get past this. And the child rape. You'll never get past those two things. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. Because he did them. He did them both. So, that's why people aren't really getting. There are two groups that just, in most ways, now in our society, we're just talking past each other. It's like, the left doesn't give a shit what anybody but their group thinks and knows. Their epistemology is garbage. It's the outhouse of epistemology in the Western world. It's just this kind of incomplete quilted cat. It's like a half-made project of knowledge. While the people on the right have a variety of rather complete structures that they keep having to kind of take pieces off of and add on to, because they're like, oh, there is an asymmetry here, because it's very complex structures. There's an asymmetry here, and now that I know this, it completes this. It makes this more beautiful of a structure, more organized. And of course, in a way, for those who I am referring to something like the art of memory. Illuminati confirmed. Boing. No, but I've only looked a little bit into it. I know, Oliver, you're all about it. You really know a lot about that. I was watching some of your video on it a while back. Now the whole thing with Jax it's just another example. It's just another of these examples of like, you guys didn't have to do that to the Jedi. You didn't have to do that to Captain Marvel and the Avengers. You didn't have to do that to Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters is really the one where you can see the power of like old school, like that there's a certain level of power that some people have that they're like, whoa, no, okay, no, call up the boys. We're going to write them a movie. You know, we're gonna make this funny. We're gonna be in it. We're gonna bring this back. How can you guys? How did you ruin? How did you fuck this up? Like, who came up with this? You know, I mean, did this really seem funny to any of you? And so you know that. And at some point, you know, it's like Aykroyd and all them. I mean, they're really sitting down with Morty or something, you know, and going over, sitting there watching it in Morty's screening room. Like, Morty, really? You really want this on, you know, something that you lost that much money on? Come on. You know you don't like losing money to people who aren't fucking funny. You know, like, come on. You know, we'll write something. We'll bring the whole thing back. Tie in the toys. The old toys will become valuable again. You'll be able to resell things on DVD and sell, you know, the old episodes, you know, the old movies on fucking you know, I mean, just the rights to it will become gold again. You know, come on, let's do this. You know what? And we'll have a great time. It'll be a great show, and we'll all make money. You know, it's just what entertain the fucking crowd, make the money, sell the merch. It's you know, every punk band got this that I saw. You know, to entertain the fucking crowd. You know, make the money, you know, collect some money, sell the fucking merch. You know, it's just come on. You know, but they're too good for this. You know, and that's the other thing. Oh no, but you see, you have to put in some moral this, that, and the other. Chuck Johnson rule, over and over and over again. The Chuck Johnson rule, and now I know from RC on the 48 Laws of Power that just in the introduction he mentions this kind of thing, feigning altruism as a form of power. You could lose money. We could lose the money. Oh yeah. Because we make so much goddamn money. Oh, yeah. You know, you're going to pay us, you pay piggies, you know, for our moral grandstanding, you know. And so that's why it's all those many things. We realize that's what this is about. And it's like, no, we know that this is what it's about. You guys are just still playing to, like, all these kind of doofs and dopes and people don't want to be bothered. But a lot, you know, it's kind of dupes. You know, people are, oh man, there's just the world's full of these horrible Nazis, and I'm like super cool with like people doing anything. I don't care what they do as long as they don't hurt me. You know, and it's sad. It's sad. You know, this having no, you know, at the principle of just don't make anybody angry. You know, don't hurt me and don't make anybody angry. You know, and they don't really understand it. They go along to get along. They're all Yang Gang, lying on their backs, legs spread. Please give me money, Mr. Yang. You know, I'm gonna have a little video on that guy. And I'm going to go through his Wikipedia and I'm going to point out this doesn't sound right to me. That doesn't sound right to me. That doesn't have a fucking link. And his whole career hinges on that. Everything else doesn't matter. That's what matters. This looks like a bunch of bullshit. I'm going to go through it all. So I won't be able to screen share it. But I'm going to, and it's going to actually be pretty quick because there's what stuck out to me stuck out so big. So, all right, later.